Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Amanda. For those of you that have not been here before, welcome. For everyone else who has been here before, welcome back. And for family, hello. So I like to experiment, I like to do things, and I like to save a little bit of money where I can. I've been purchasing Alfredo pasta mixes in little packets, and they're supposed to serve 4 people, and my son can manage to eat 3 packets of those in a sitting, so they're expensive. So I'm going to make my own. Why not? I've been experimenting with mixes for several weeks, testing out different variations, and we finally think we've got it down pretty pat. So it's a really nice cheese mix to make up that you can then add your pasta to when you cook your pasta, and it also is good served up with some additional ingredients, chicken and bacon and vegetables if you like. Either way, it can be just plain. Let's get to putting together one of my versions, my recipe of Alfredo pasta mix. Let's go. So I'm going to put it straight into the jar to make things really easy. Of course, if you want to adjust the seasonings in this, you can. If you want to add extra salt or pepper, you can. I just have tested it several times, and this is what suits our palate. So I'm going to start off with half a cup of milk powder. Now, if you're dairy-free, yes, you can substitute this for coconut milk powder, but I'm just going to use full cream milk powder for my son. So half a cup of milk powder. And then I also need to add butter powder. If you don't have butter powder, that's okay. You can always add butter during the cooking process. I'm just trying to create a recipe that everything is included in the same jar. And I'd already opened up my can of butter powder, so it needs to get used within a certain time frame. So I figured this was a perfect recipe to be using it for. And taking into account that I am using the butter powder that requires water to hydrate it, I need to remember that when I'm creating the recipe and keeping in mind the amount of water that's needed for that. Once again, if you don't have it, that's fine. And to that, I need to add some of the cheese powder, half a cup. Now, I've got 2 different cheese powders that I'm using. I have a cheddar cheese powder, and I have a second cheese powder, which is this one, and the second one contains a thickening agent versus this one, which is just pure cheese. I'm going to use both. So I'm going to use half a cup of what is just freeze-dried pure cheddar cheese. So once again, if you don't have this, then you wouldn't be making the version that I'm making for it in a jar, but you could always make an Alfredo mix for a saucepan and add your own cheese then. So I'm going to add half a cup of my cheese powder. Now this one, however, with the thickening agent in it, has a very different smell. It smells like, for want of a better word, it smells like Doritos. It's what it smells like, corn chips. It smells like cheese Doritos. So I'm not going to add as much of it because it's a little bit more stronger in flavour. And so that's a quarter of a cup, so it's a half of a half. So there's a quarter of a cup of the cheddar cheese sauce mix going in as well. I guess you probably could buy a cheddar cheese sauce mix in a small packet and substitute and use that. I don't see why not. Dried parsley and some white pepper. So just a teaspoon of the parsley. So this is just fresh out of the garden, so that can all just go in. And then I need to add half a teaspoon of the white pepper, which I've just ground up as well, so it's freshly ground white pepper. So it's probably a little bit strong, so I'm just going to stick to half a teaspoon. Garlic powder and onion powder, just again a half a teaspoon of each of those as well. And then the final ingredient to make the mix up is just some sour cream powder. So we made this ourselves when I dehydrated sour cream in the dehydrator for a couple of days. This is the resulting powder, so just 3 tablespoons of the sour cream powder added to the jar. And that is the final ingredient of my Alfredo pasta mix in a jar, shelf stable, ready to just have water added to prepare it to make it into a pasta sauce for adding to pasta or potato bake or a vegetable bake, quick and simple by just adding water. You can add the water and using boiling water, and then add your sauce directly to anything that you're going to be baking in the oven, so cooked pasta or cooked potato. If you're wanting to have cooked potato or pasta on the stove and having a nice rich thick sauce, then I'd recommend cooking it on the stove top instead of just adding the boiling water and just thickening it on the stove just for a couple of minutes while it heats up. It's a really quick and easy, fast way to make a quick meal, and this we've tried several times and are really happy with the consistency and the flavour. So thanks very much for coming along and joining me with that journey. Hope you enjoy that mix and try it and let me know.